Aloha, this is No Smoke with Hawaii Johnny. We are high and live in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Today we are talking about heaters. That's right, heaters. Now, there's been a lot of studies done recently that show that there's a lot of positive health benefits to consuming plants. But there's been just as many studies that show that consuming smoke from those plants is not necessarily as good for us. So here we are discussing the vaporization process and how to really go about it. Throughout the next few weeks, we're going to be discussing a lot of different forms and functions about the vaporization process, but today we're going to be discussing the heating process. So we've got two different forms, and one is either conduction. And when we think about conduction is just like the prefix shows, to conduct is like guiding. I like to think of it like putting a piece of bacon on a pan on the stovetop, okay? That bacon actually has to touch that pan to heat up and get to that good stuff that we're looking for. Same thing with the herb in your conduction oven. You would have to make sure that the vicinity of all of your herb is super close together and your grind is super consistent so that all of your herbs get vaporized evenly and equally, because that heat is actually going to be transferred by touching each different part. Okay. Now, when we think of the other main form of heating, which is convection heating, you can also look at the prefix of that word, which is convect, and that's like looking at movement and transfer. Just like, well, I like to think of it like the convection oven. This is an important distinction because this type of heat actually surrounds your herb, and that kind of heated up breath is what creates the vaporization process. Now, for this to work, it's highly dependent on the power source and a consistent form of that power source. So if you don't have that, then your convection heat will lose its potency pretty quickly, leading to a less enjoyable session. When we think about all of these different forms of technology, recently there's been a lot of developments in what some people have coined hybrid technology. Now, hybrid technology is, as you could imagine, a mixture of both of these types of heating, conduction and convection, to create a more even cook of your herb. Though this does come with some drawbacks as well, because it can cook without you. And again, you really do have to have a very consistent power source. Power sources are going to be a later episode a few weeks down the line. But I did want to give a shout out to Jerry Stickstones and Troy Reddington from 420 Vape Zone. They really, as far as I can tell, coined that term hybrid vapes. And it seems like that is a term that they've been kind of pushing around in the whole community. I wanted to just take this moment and actually shout out the community, because there's all different forums. There's all different community spaces online discussing this type of medication if it's interesting to you. So I highly recommend looking into different spaces online, whether it be on Reddit, FC, or a different Discord for any company that you're looking for. Now, speaking of different companies and speaking of different presences online, I actually wanted to just let y'all know that right now I am going to open up the Steam Vent. That is actually a place where if you leave me a 5-star review with a question, I will read it on air here and we'll discuss that question. Now, please make sure that you watch your language. My Auntie Lay is reading all of them, so just please make sure that you watch your language. And we're going to be coming at you next week with another episode. Hope you enjoyed this one. And big mahalo again to the whole community. Looking forward to learning and growing with everybody. Stay high and hui ho.